Okay, I think we'll go ahead and get started. I see that we've got several folks from the board of directors of Impact Austin. Thank you so much and welcome. And likewise, we have several of you who are either members or non-members of Impact Austin, and we welcome you as well. My name is Katherine Mudge, and I am president of the board of directors of Impact Austin. And it is my great pleasure to host/MC this event. But the whole hope is that you will hear and then be able to talk with several of our board members who truly represent what this board is about and what this organization is about. I see that we have one board member who is still trying to hook up, but I think we'll go ahead and get started. Sorry, I just needed to, there we go. Start that. The purpose, what we're going to do today, got several goals in mind. The first one is to provide you with some general information about Impact Austin, as several of the attendees are not members yet and are considering joining the organization. And we definitely welcome you to join this amazing group. The second goal will be to introduce the board members and have them introduce themselves to you and tell you a little bit about our board, our backgrounds, and all the different places that we have come from, as well as really generally what the board does. Then you will get to hear from three of our board members who will give you their background, but more importantly, their experience on the board, as well as what called them to board service at Impact Austin. Then we will hear from Simone Talma Flowers, who is our chair of the governance committee, and she will give you a high-level info session, if you will, of what it means and what you need to do to be able to qualify to be on the board of directors of Impact Austin. Then we will break out into probably two or three groups of individuals and give everyone a chance then to open up and ask questions. Certain board members will be in your session, and this will really be an opportunity for you to ask questions that perhaps were raised during the discussion or ones that are on your mind. Then we will get back together with some closing remarks, and then we will let you go about your day. So again, thank you again for joining. And we really want this session to be interactive and, more importantly, informative to you. So I hope that you will feel comfortable enough to participate during the discussions, because we are really here also to answer your questions and let you get to know us. So first, let me give you a brief overall view of Impact Austin. We are a collective giving women's philanthropic group that would provide grants to nonprofits in the Central Texas area. We are now entering our 20th year, so we are celebrating our 20th anniversary. But the 19 years in our history, we have granted $8.07 million in grants over the 19 years to nonprofits all around Central Texas. Of those grants, there were 108 grants in total, serving 88 nonprofit organizations. Generally, historically, our grants have been collectively, anywhere between $80,000 and $100,000 each. We have since divided those up, and we now have primary and secondary grants, which we will discuss. But overall, the idea is for a collective giving to have a collective impact for the members' donations that go primarily to giving grants to the nonprofits. We have 4 grant areas, and we have divided them, as I said, into 2 cycles. The fall cycle, we will give grants in the area of equity and health and well-being. We will also then in the spring give 2 other grants in community service and education. As I said, we have a primary grant, which is typically about 75% or so of the total dollars that we're able to give. And that will be a restricted grant, meaning that it has to go for a specific measurable project. We then have a secondary grant that we give, which is unrestricted, which can be used for a variety of needs for the nonprofit. Our grant review committee and our grant review process is, for want of a better term, a fairly well-oiled machine, in the sense that it is tried and true, but the great news is that it continues to evolve as the needs of our nonprofits change. The nonprofit or the grant review committees are comprised of all volunteer members, and you learn about grant making. You are able to receive some diversity, equity, inclusion, belonging training. And these grant review committees pour through the applications, identify the 2 finalists that the membership then is allowed to vote. And the results are announced either in the fall at our town hall meeting, which by the way is November 15th, and we would love to have you attend. Or in the spring, we announce our grants at our annual meeting, which will be held in early June of next year. We also have a promise to our members. We've talked about grant making a lot in terms of what we do. But as you'll see, we have in our history, in our 19-year history, we have had over 2,857 female philanthropists. And we think of each of our members as philanthropists. And we want our promise to you is that we will meet you wherever you're at your philanthropic journey, whether you are beginning in your journey, or whether you are an extremely tenured person who wants to get more involved in collective giving and learn more about our nonprofit community. We will meet you there, and then we will give opportunities for you to move forward in your journey. Because our ultimate goal is not only to give grants, but is to really impress and imprint upon all of our members the great concept of trust-based philanthropy, so that philanthropists can go out and do the work that they choose to do. We have areas besides grant making that a lot of our members get involved with that, but we also have members who really just want to learn more about the nonprofits in Central Texas. They want to learn about the needs of our Central Texas community. They want to learn more about diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging. And in all of those topics, as well as others, we again meet you with our journey, in large part through what we call Discovery Days, which is held in January, which is turned as a result of a silver lining of COVID and the pandemic, if you will, is turned into a virtual series of events where we bring in speakers to provide education, philanthropic education and nonprofit education to our members as well as to the general public. Some of our members want to enhance or create their own network. And there we meet the needs of our individuals through a variety of events. We call them zone events that are anywhere from social events all the way to actually community service projects that many of our members like to become involved in. So the bottom line in terms of what our view and our goal and mission is that we choose and want to have a collective impact. And we want to have that impact on nonprofits in Central Texas, but also on all of our members who choose and are able to join. Let me tell you a little bit about how we're set up in terms of governance. We do have a board of directors of Impact Austin. The board of directors are all volunteers. We have 15 positions allowed under our bylaws. Currently, we have 11 board members in those roles. The board of directors is really what I would consider to be the policy or governing body for the organization. The board of directors are basically allowed and really come from our membership. And as I'll explain a little bit later, there is a great variety of backgrounds in terms of who ends up serving on the board. We have 2 paid staff out of an organization that is primarily and almost totally volunteer driven. We have an executive director and we have an operations manager. We are currently searching for our executive director. Our last executive director went on to really a new chapter in her life, but Christina had been with us for 4 years. It left us in a great place in terms of our continued evolution and our continued drive to embrace our mission, vision, and goals. And also with us today is our interim executive director, Nicole Genevieve, who also wears, at least when we have an executive director, wears a different hat of operations manager. And we are so thankful to have Nicole as our interim executive director as our organization continues to really move forward at an incredible speed to continue to operate as we need. The executive director, in support with our staff, really runs the organization on a day-to-day basis. While the board establishes the strategic plan and the overall policies of the organization, it is the executive director and staff, and then ultimately all of our volunteers through committees that make Impact Austin work. We have committees such as marketing, technology, membership, diversity, inclusion, and belonging, grants, and we also have Girls Giving Gifts, which is our young women in middle school and high school who are interested in learning and living the philanthropic life. So that is just sort of an overview of how the organization is set up. But this presentation and this discussion is about the board of directors. You have in front of you who our current board members are. And I think what I'll do first is let the current board members who are available to introduce themselves, starting with our officers, starting with our Vice President, Deanna DeHaven.
Hi, all. It's great to have you here. I'm Deanna DeHaven, Vice President of Impact Austin, and I've been on the board for 4 years now.
Thank you, Deanna. Our treasurer, Jessica Forrest.
Hi, I'm Jessica Forrest. I've been on the board also for 4 years, and it's a great day to have you guys on board and listening and learning more about our organization. Thank you.
Our Secretary and Chief Administrative Officer, Allison Marshall.
Welcome. I'm Allison Marshall. I've been on the board also for 4 years, and it's great to have you all on.
And last but not least, again, I'm Katherine Mudge. I too have been on the board for 4 years. As it turns out, not intentionally, but this is just kind of the way it worked. All of the officers, Deanna, Jessica, Allison, and myself, came on to the board at the same time, and we have had the great fortune of working together for the past 4 years. We also have other board members that I'd like to have them introduce, and I'll start with Simone.
Hello, everyone. I'm Simone Talma Flowers, and I have been on the board for 2 years.
Thank you, Simone. Lillian.
Welcome, everyone. My name is Lillian Gray, and this is my 2nd year on the board.
Thank you, Lillian. Ricki Wax.
Hello, everyone. My name is Ricki, and I've been on the board for 2 years.
Earind.
Hello, I'm Earind Jackson, and I've also been on the board for 2 years.
Let's see. I think I've got everyone else. Yes. So as you'll see on our, we have our, sorry, I'm having technical difficulties. I apologize. I'm not in my office today. I'm actually traveling and I am not getting this. So right in front of you, you have the other board members who comprise our 11-person board at this juncture. The board, as Simone will give you a highlight, if you will, of the board operations. But these women are the ones who, as I said, really work to establish and move, identify our policy, our strategic plan, strategy for the board. I would consider us a governing board as opposed to a working board. And by that, I mean that typically and historically, many of the Impact Austin boards have been working boards where there were specific operational tasks that board members would do. We have since and intentionally moved forward to being a governance board where, while we still roll up our sleeves and work to support our executive director and our operations manager, and currently our interim executive director, we really look forward and want to continue to be a governing board that establishes the policy and strategy for the organization as we move forward. Before Simone goes into a board overview, let me just give you sort of a spectrum, if you will, of who we have on the board. In terms of experience and our background and careers, we go all the way from women who have worked in media and communications, technology, human resources, diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging specialists, consultants on finance, financial planning. You have lawyers, you have accountants, you have women who have worked for very large companies, and actually some who work for small business companies, and even own their own businesses. We have executive directors of other nonprofits. We have chief operating officers of nonprofits as well. In terms of background, we have worked for or currently work for companies that are for-profit and those that are for nonprofit. We also have retired individuals who have committed to board service. And in terms of actual board experience, again, it runs the whole spectrum. We have people on the board who have never served on a board before. That is part of learning, and that's part of what we allow and want our board members to experience and get them to have the opportunity to experience. And it goes all the way to individuals who have been and are on multiple boards, both for nonprofit and for-profit organizations. So it's really quite a great background and a great spectrum, if you will. And at this point, let me turn it over to Simone for a high-level discussion about board service, and then we'll hear from some of our other board members. Simone?
Good afternoon, everyone. Again, so I'm Simone Talma Flowers, and I serve as the governance chair of Impact Austin. And it's my second year on the board. And one other thing too is that my organization that I work for and serve as the executive director, we became a community partner back in 2017. So we received a grant, and then in 2018, I joined to become a member. And it has just been an amazing experience getting to meet all these fabulous women and just learning from each other and forming friendships too. So one of the important things in becoming a board member for Impact Austin is first and foremost, you have to become a member of Impact Austin. So we look at within the pool of our members for board leadership. And then, so initially it's a 3-year commitment. And so you join and you have the first 3 years, and then you have the option of renewal 2 times. So two-year periods. Okay, so I am in my second year. So I still have next year, I will go into the third. And then after that, if the option of renewal will be available for me. So we meet monthly. And this right now, we meet like the second Wednesday of the month. So, and this is something that has just been really amazing. And then also in addition to the monthly meeting, we as every board member to serve on a committee. And you can either chair or be a member of the committee. And of course, the committees are advancement, finance, governance, people, or strategic planning. And again, being on these committees, you learn, you work side by side with members on the board, as well as members of Impact Austin who are not board members. And then, of course, there is a financial commitment. And this is a give and get. So what that means is that for some, you know, it may be, well, I'll bring on some other people or I'll get a donation to Impact Austin. So that helps alleviate the total financial responsibility that you have. And some people are able to just write a check. So it varies. So our goal is to make sure that anyone is able to be a board member. All right. So but it's been wonderful, and it's been a great way of giving back and learning so much about our community. And then one other thing too is that, you know, our year starts July. So it's July 1. All right. That was quick. So, but we'll share more in our breakout sessions.
Simone, that's wonderful. And listen, thank you so much for that overview. We thought it'd be helpful to you to have an overview so that when we got into our breakout sessions, that it would serve as a basis. So again, thank you so much, Simone. So now I'd like to hear from 3 of our board members who want to share with you a very brief experience in terms of their board experience and or the reason that they felt compelled to board service. And I'd like to start off with Lillian Gray. Lillian?
Thank you so much, Katherine. I'm excited to share a bit more with you all about board service at Impact Austin and in general, because for me, it has been such a huge part of my philanthropic journey. And part of the reason that I wanted to join the board of Impact Austin is to have the opportunity to be part of that journey with others and to have the opportunity to learn together. As someone who has had the honor, the privilege, the opportunity to serve on other boards, I know that you still have an opportunity to learn. It doesn't matter what other experiences you've had. I feel that to me, this was going to be very unique and fresh and new, and an opportunity to grow even more. I was very interested in collective giving. I was very interested, having been a member of Impact Austin for 2 years prior to joining the board. What other paths, you know, that board service could take me and others through. So I think that collective giving was something that I was very interested in the way that it could increase participation, connection, that opportunity to collaborate together. I think that you'll find that Impact Austin is an amazing group of women, all very driven to drive positive change in our communities. And everybody has different voices and different perspectives. And I think that makes it a very exciting place to be. And I think in particular, serving through on the board really gives an opportunity to have a part in shaping how that takes place. I think it gives you, it's a tremendous learning opportunity, whether you've served in boards beforehand or where this is your very first opportunity. I always continue to learn from my fellow board members. And I think it's a great opportunity to show that commitment that you have to your community, be part of planning, be part of thinking how you want to deliver on that. And I think Impact Austin just gives you so many amazing opportunities to do that. And the last thing I'll share, just in the interest of time and so that I don't, talk too much here, I feel that there are so many organizations that are so connected to Impact Austin, and I see the potential to have that be even more. And I think that that's very exciting as well, that I feel like we have partners in the community and being part of the board continues to support that. So that's it in a nutshell.
Thank you, Lillian. That was wonderful. Let's turn to Ricki Wax.
Yes, so I was very pleased to see this event. I attended last year, and it's always one of my favorite events because it gives people the opportunity to step up and be on the board and learn more about what it is we do and why we do what we do. In sharing my experience, I want to share a little bit about myself. So I moved to Austin from Dallas about 40 years ago. And when I initially moved here, it was a new city, new place, didn't really know a lot of people. But I've always been a person who likes to be involved with her community. And so I did like a year of laying the land, and by a colleague here that I worked with at Google introduced me to Christina, who was our previous executive director. And she just had all this energy, and she was so passionate about talking about Impact Austin. And I was like, have heard the name before, wasn't quite sure what they did. But literally after one conversation, I was like, sign me up. How do I become a member? And so I became a member pretty immediately in 2019. And then, through our conversations and through just learning more about how to be a voice to the voiceless here in Austin, Texas, I said, how can I make more of an impact? Like, going to these events are great. And then COVID hit. So you're seeing all the discovery days and things like that. I was like, what is a way that I can be even more impactful? What's a way that I can be more effective during these times? And so that actually sparked my interest to want to join the board. And I feel like coming alongside and working alongside some of the most smartest women that I have ever met has been a challenge for me, which I always enjoy a good challenge, in terms of like, how do I get different and diverse perspectives, right? How do I learn more about finance? Jessica, I know, is going to speak to, but just the way she articulates things in such a very organized manner of how we are actually impacting our community. And so being able to work alongside women like that, that is what drove me to join the board. And in doing so, I've had a great experience. One of the things that I always say is that I joined something to be greater than myself. So while I've always been passionate about philanthropy, being able to contribute to, $8 million of giving here in Central Austin, that's bigger than what I was contributing as a sole person here in my community. And so I really admire what we're able to do, the communities that we're able to impact. And I'm not gonna lie, it feels nice because there's a lot of girl power going on, knowing that women are the ones doing these things. I feel good, like, yes, we take our power back. And so I'm super excited and can't wait to join the breakout rooms to even tell you more about my story. So,
Ricki, thank you so much. And Jessica Forrest.
Thank you, Katherine. So you guys have heard two great stories already about board service. Mine comes a little to Austin in 2012, just because I'd always been giving back to my community, either through volunteerism or donations. And I was introduced to Impact Austin through one of our infamous coffees, sort of get-togethers, where a community partner spoke about the action that a high impact grant could allow them to take. And I became very curious about, what the organization was like and what the community of membership was like. So I joined and learned so much about Austin and about the issues that were outside of my bubble. We all live in a work and family and habit bubble, and to just put my feet on the ground and really feel what our city was going through and its growing pains, both positive and negative, really felt like I had a more holistic view of what my community was like and what my city was like. And when my kids were out of high school and in school, and I had a little bit more extra time available, I thought, well, why don't I do more for what I find most rewarding, which is getting involved in my community. And so that's when I stepped up to the board and decided that I wanted not only to see how the organization was run, but how I could learn from it and how I could participate in the direction that it was going in. And it's been a voyage of learning from others, of stepping up into leadership positions that you didn't really expect to, but usually that's when you raise the bar, you lift people to their capacity and then some. And so I feel like my contribution is way beyond the monetary contribution that I make. I learn more than 10 times the value of what I give. And that to me is the most impactful part. And when we see things happen like COVID and how it just dramatically turns our habits and our community and our energy and our focus upside down, and to see an organization like Impact Austin really rise to the occasion also, and all the people among it, it took my heart. And I am so thrilled to be a part of this group of women who put service first. And it really, I don't know, there's not the right word to say, but it really feels like I'm making a difference. And if I end up stepping away from Impact Austin and participating with one or two particular organizations, it's still a win, because I have learned more in this journey than I would have ever have been able to learn on my own. So I'm grateful to the leadership team. I'm grateful to the members who start on the journey, because we're all in this together, and it's great. We're all rowing in the right direction.
Thank you, Jessica, and thanks to all of of you who have shared your experiences. And I know that the other board members will be happy to share their own personal experiences, to the extent that you want to learn more, because that's where we're moving now, into breakout sessions. And a lot of times people say, well, I'm just going to drop off. I'm not going to do a session because I don't want to say anything. And you know what? I would just ask for you and ask for your indulgence to be part of our breakout session. Even if you choose not to ask questions, because we've been so great in terms of answering your questions. But I'd like for you to have the opportunity to hear more about the organization, about experiences, and to hear what viewpoints you have from all the different board members that will be participating. So what we're going to do now is we're going to break out into, I believe, 3 different breakout rooms. Nicole will be doing that for us. We'll have 15 minutes, and then we will come back together for some closing remarks and possibly some closing discussion. So with that, Nicole, if you will break us up, and we will see all of you back here in the next 15 minutes or so. Thank you. Hey, folks. Well, I trust and hope that all of you had a good breakout session and questions were asked and answered. But let me just ask if there are any person or participant, whether you're a board member or not, who would like to share either an observation or an interesting point that was raised during your breakout session. Let's see if I come right. So I'll start off with one. One was, gee, what does it look like in terms of a time commitment for the board? And we talked about the times that we meet on a monthly basis that Simone identified, as well as meeting with your board committee, which is usually once a month. So we're talking about usually 10 to 15 hours, 15 hours being really on the far end of the spectrum, but that we also really work at trying to be respectful to your working days. So we do try to avoid that where possible. Anybody have any other examples or things that they'd like to add to the conversation? Okay, I just want you to know, for those of you who are not board members, this is a first, because these amazing board women have such insightfulness, opinions, and thoughts that this is a first, and I'm glad this is being recorded. But with that, I really do want to first say thank you. Thank you for spending your lunch hour with us. We at the board, we are very proud of this organization. We have lots of things going on, and I believe Linda put in the chat that we have our next signature event, if you will, is town hall, where we have members come together and we announce the winners of our 2 fall cycle grant recipients. Very, very excited about that. But there's also going to be, as always, there will be some food and there will be some drink and there will be a lot of laughter and high and great energy. And I can't tell you how much we would love to have you. And if you're interested, whether you're a member or not, you can reach out to Nicole and or through our website, and we can ensure that you can become part of us or at least see more and more about what we are about. And with that, I want to thank you for your time, your energy, your curiosity. All of those things are things that we believe and instill and love about Impact Austin. Thank you again. And I hope that you guys have a great rest of your day. Take care. Bye-bye now.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye.